For today's cup of coffee, we have morbid tales.
Morbid.
Yeah. And I had actually found this one a couple of days ago. And it was disturbing. And then there was a follow-up that was disturbing, more disturbing.
On what level of disturbing? Like Rotten.com level?
No, I try to avoid those. I really do. This one actually comes from the website Grunge and was written by Aaron Homer, August the 17th, 2022. And some of these people need to go back and read what they have written on some of this stuff. I have an issue with that. Anyhow, the horrifying discovery a New Zealand family made after purchasing forgotten luggage.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And I have highly edited this, so you can go to the link in the description box and read the original way that it was written, because I have a tendency to just sort of cut to the chase. I write everything like an incident report. I do, because I was trained. And that's just facts. That's it.
What happened? Where happened?
Yeah, I mean, that is it. This happened. This was observed. Whatever. It was the same thing as far as notations in mental health and counseling, because you wrote down enough to where if you were called into court, you could remember what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
And it says some of the popular TV shows, which are these reality shows. And one of the subgenres is the where people go in and buy these storage buildings. And just stuff that has been abandoned, different things like that.
Storage wars.
Exactly. And another one was American Pickers, and says that they're popular because they tap into the desire that some have to find a hidden treasure or to make something from nothing. And I've watched the shows a few times, and they can be kind of interesting.
Yeah, they can be good at times.
And they bid on who buys these storage buildings, lots, whatever the stuff is that's been abandoned.
And they usually resell the stuff that's in it if they can.
Yeah, some of them have, different businesses, secondhand stores and stuff.
Yeah.
Very rarely do they find anything that is fabulous.
Yeah. They find stuff that is just barely good. Very rarely will they find anything that's like really, really good.
Right. There's a reason that people, rent those storage buildings to put stuff in there and just forget it. They're oubliettes.
They put the junk in there.
Absolutely. And if you've got that much junk that you have to have a storage building,
get rid of it.
Have a garage sale. Have a yard sale. Put
it on eBay.
Yeah. That's a whole lot easier. And over in Auckland in New Zealand, according to Stuff, there's a website apparently called Stuff.
We love stuff.
It says a family purchased some forgotten about items from a storage locker, but once they got their new items home, neighbors noticed a smell, and soon enough police trucks and forensics vans were showing up on what had previously been a quiet residential street. Piecing together what happened on or around August 11th of 2022, and in Auckland is proving difficult due to multiple sources reporting on the story from multiple angles. Well, of course they are.
Yeah.
It says it appears to be that a self-storage facility was getting rid of the contents of a unit via online auction. And that was from the Sydney Morning Herald, who identified the facility as Safe Store in Papatoto.
Well, it's not apparently so safe now.
Papatoto. Y'all in Australia, y'all have some interesting words. Seriously.
Because they're not... It's indigenous land.
Is it?
Yeah.
So Papatoto is a part of an indigenous... Okay. Some of the words sound made up. Some of our words sound made up.
Yes.
It's like it come out of Dr. Seuss.
Chillowy.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But it's Chihuahua. Yeah, we've got lots of them.
Some of y'all call it Chihuahua.
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 It's Chihuahua. It's a local town near here. So, but Papa Toto, it sounds like Dr. Seuss. It really does. No offense to the Aussies out there. It's just interesting. Okay, an unidentified person purchased the goods and then brought them home. It's unclear how much was purchased, but neighbors report items being brought to the home on a trailer. Okay, what kind of a trailer?
Yeah.
Is that like you can haul a lawnmower out? Right, or is that a semi-trailer?
Yeah.
We want to know. And while the family was opening and unloading their haul, neighbors noticed a smell. And one neighbor said, quote, "I could smell it here. I thought it was a dead cat or something."
Oh my God, what if it was?
Another neighbor recognized the smell immediately and stated, quote, "I knew that it was, I knew that because I'm a pig hunter, and when carcasses go bad, it's the same smell. That's why I thought it was a dead animal," end quote. It says another wondered how the family had purchased the items, that they didn't have the smell, they didn't recognize the smell when they went to pick them up.
Right.
I don't know.
That's weird as fuck.
That's a zinc deficiency right there if they couldn't smell that.
Right.
And eventually it dawned on the residents of the neighborhood that their neighbors had purchased and brought home at least one suitcase containing human remains.
Oh.
And again, that is according to a stuff report. It says soon enough, the police vehicles,
bit of body parts,
God help, and a forensics tent were on the property. And I have never experienced that particular smell, but they say that it is horrendous.
A little bit of body parts.
Anything decaying has a horrible smell to it.
Mm-hmm.
It says Auckland police are now dealing with a murder investigation, and that is a detective inspector whose name, not even going there, said that identifying the remains is the first priority, and he stated, quote, "Given the nature of the discovery, this might take some time," end quote. Fortunately for the family that purchased the storage locker contents, they're not considered suspects in the crime.
Well, no shit.
And this family who bought this stuff has skipped town until further notice due to the unwanted attention.
Well, wouldn't you?
Hell yeah, we go someplace.
Fuck this shit, I'm going on vacation.
That was, you talk about a total oh shit moment.
That wasn't their fault.
No, it wasn't. Then we have a follow-up article.
Oh, yay. It's rare that you get updates.
It is, especially that quickly. And this is from the Daily Star by Lizzie McAllister and was August the 18th of 2022. And this article is entitled, "2 Kids Found Dead in Abandoned Luggage in New Zealand and Were Likely There for Years." And it says a family was shocked to discover the remains of 2 young children inside a set of second-hand suitcases they had purchased. Police have now speculated that the bodies were likely there for 3 or 4 years before the gruesome discovery was made.
Oh, those poor kids.
Yeah, it says the remains are thought to have belonged to children aged between 5 and 10 years old. And the same New Zealand police detective inspector who's on the case has now confirmed that police believe the children's bodies have been there for several years each. And CCTV will now be analyzed to try to determine what happened to the children. But the inspector admits the case is likely to be a tricky one to solve given how long it has been since the bodies were likely stashed and the young age of the victims involved. Relatives of the victims are living in New Zealand, he said, but the children have not yet been formally identified. Well, yeah, as well as the bodies, the horrified family discovered personal items in the suitcases, and that was the family who had purchased these things. It didn't go into detail as far as what personal items were in the suitcases. My question is, if the bodies had been there for 3 or 4 years, why would they still have had such a strong odor of putrefaction or whatever?
Unless they were in a bag and it was like human soup.
But even then, how was it that the neighbors had smelled it?
The bag could have ripped at some point. Like, the bag could have gave way. It's possible. And then it could have started leaking.
See, I have other questions on this than what the reporters. It doesn't make a lot of sense. No, it doesn't. Like I said, if the remains had been there for that long, no. I mean, all the stuff. And it didn't say that they were in kind of enclosed in plastic or anything like that. It's just in a suitcase. And if it were airtight, again, you wouldn't have had any kind of an odor.
Well, the only way I could think of is the zipper. Like, it could have leaked through the zipper because that's fabric. Yeah,
but still, like, after, it doesn't matter whether it was in the storage facility or what. No, it doesn't make sense. Because even, I mean, if you've got something that's just open, that is decaying, it doesn't take that long for the process to, break down. Because a lot of that is bacterial, and I hope nobody's trying to have breakfast with this. We'll have to put a warning on this one.
Don't eat
while watching this. But it doesn't take that long to break down. Now, there are certain things like, of course, the bone takes years and stuff like that. Yeah. Even as far as parts of, if it's like hide and stuff, that will remain. Of course, if something is out in the open, you have animals and insects that do what they do. Mm. So,
wow.
Like I said, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Because for the odor to be that prevalent, that neighbors noticed it when these people just drove up with these belongings, the fact that these people didn't, even smell this stuff. That's like you were talking about taking the garbage out for Mom earlier.
Oh, God.
And that there had been meat packaging, and it had been, a day or two?
Yeah.
And that the odor was just horrific.
And I can still vaguely smell it on me.
Well, everybody knows
faintly smell it on me.
Everybody knows what a, garbage station or convenience station is what they're called around here, where you take your trash off.
Yeah.
Garbage truck, whatever you have.
If you do not have one of those garbage bins that they come and pick up, you go take your trash off to the dump.
Yeah, it's a convenience station, and they take it to some other state now, and it's somebody else's problem. But we had a landfill near here until a few years ago, and you could drive by there, and in the summer, it was horrific.
That's why they got rid of it, because it got bad.
Well, I think it just went, at a certain point, they couldn't accept it anymore. It was full.
How long does it take for that stuff to rot?
Hundreds of years, depending on what it is. If it's something that's biodegradable, not that long, unless it hits like an air pocket or something. And that's sort of what we're talking about here, because apparently whatever these bodies were in was not airtight.
Yeah.
Because then the odor wouldn't have gotten out. So this does not make sense at all. And to say that these bodies had been there for 3 or 4 years, well, I don't know if maybe the police had told people that to get them to sort of shut up about it. Or if they have no idea what they're doing on forensics.
Or both.
But no, that makes no sense. And it's truly one of those horrific, tragic things. Makes you wonder also, what if somebody else that was not associated with the owners somehow got access to the storage locker and put these items in there? Items being the bodies.
Right.
We don't know that the people of the facility couldn't have done that.
Right. We don't know. Who knows? Ooh.
Yeah. So, but it just does not make sense. And, I would, if I were an inspector / detective /forensics, whatever.
I'd be like, what the fuck?
And would make a statement like that. I mean, that's sort of your professional reputation.
Right?
I'm
Right?
like, people's got to be calling them or emailing them or social media and them
Like,
going, what the hell is wrong with you? This makes
y'all
no
messed up here
sense.
a little bit.
I mean, if we could sit here over coffee pondering this and going, no, something ain't right.
So,
I mean, that makes no sense.
no.
And most people are familiar, at least at some point or some part, about the decay process. And,
How many people have sat there and watched something rot?
well, and I guess that's true. People in urban areas, but they can watch shows. They can, what is that mortician lady that you watch?
She doesn't watch.
Ask a Mortician.
She doesn't tell. Well, she does tell people.
Yeah,
how long
she does. She talks about as far as the decay process.
Yeah, I mean, but day-to-day people, the normies, don't watch.
I think the YouTube channel is called Ask a Mortician.
It is. I don't remember her
She
name.
has some pretty interesting things on there.
I like her. I like watching.
Well, she's got different ideas than I do as far as some of her views, and that's perfectly acceptable. She was on the death positivity movement, wasn't that the name of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's very much
Still is.
where people have the option of not being embalmed and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Buried within 24 hours.
Yeah, that's, allow the natural process to do what it does.
Yeah, that's, organic.
Mm-hmm. But again,
that's a
even
real
within
thing.
that, okay, let's go back to that. A body is, if you're not having the embalming and all that stuff, the reason you bury it within 24 hours is because the decay process begins immediately.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Immediately. And so that makes, it's horrific. And, God help those children, and of course I believe kids' spirits just go on to God. I really do. But whoever would do something like that needs to be found.
Flayed.
Yeah, I'm a fan of flaying on anybody that would harm children like that, very much. Only partial flaying, not even the whole thing.
Like it's partially hanging off of them.
Yeah. Because anybody who hurts a kid, they give that kid a life sentence.
Amber Sweet, the face falling off.
Yeah, that was and as far as I know, we are not condoning someone actually going out and doing something to hurt another person.
Unless they deserve it.
As far as justice, and there are countries that still very much do what needs to be done to individuals like that. Yeah. Because this kinder, gentler stuff on some things like that has not worked well. But we're interested in your all's theories and take on this. Like I said, links in the description box, and you could read it and see what they're, talking about, if it makes sense to you. Some of you may have more expertise about forensics than we would ever have. Kid has a very strange look on his face.
I wonder though, if they cleaned out and disaffected, somehow, perfectly cleaned out those suitcases and then were resell them.
That would truly be a haunted object. There is
That's
no
what I was
way.
That's what I was wondering. That I would be like.
No, that would
be a cursed.
There would be the cursed object. Those things need to be burned. And it's not that things like this haven't happened over history. In fact, lots of things like this have happened over the span of time.
Yeah.
But be careful when you buy other people's stuff. And in fact, I was emailing one of our folks, one of our viewers, and she was discussing as far as haunted objects. She's another one that be careful what you allow into your home. Be careful what you are purchasing from flea market, antique mall, anything like that, because these items could have spirit attachments.
Do they have any haunted objects?
If they got haunted objects, they can put them on the eBay. We are not bringing haunted objects into this house.
No,
no.
The person that you're talking about, like...
Oh, no, she's got better sense than to have haunted objects. No, she does not. She has remarkably pure energy. So, no, I'm not. She doesn't. And this is why we try to urge people and warn people about doing stuff and bringing things into their home that might hurt them on any level. So, but yeah, morbid tales. So, I mean, it's still warm weather. Everybody's doing all this political stuff and everything. So some of the strange tales that we usually gather are a little more sparse. And some of the things that, as far as doing the deep look, days long research, I just don't have it in me right now.
Yeah.
My attention span is not that. I've been busy doing transport for weeks, which leaves me kind of exhausted, but it's all good. So if you have experiments. If you've got experiments, let us know. If you've had encounters with the strange, unusual, with the paranormal, supernatural, if you've had experiences with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, morbid tales, those are great.
Have y'all found a corpse?
I don't know.
People have found a corpse in a suitcase on Randonautica before. Well, through Randonautica before.
That's just disturbing. I mean, that truly...
They found it on a beach.
That's horrific. As a passing, as I was researching things, they had someplace they had called authorities that they thought that there was a lady's corpse on the beach, and it came that it was somebody's sex doll.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
I thought it was.
That is.
So we've ended up on a lighter.
Where did it come from?
I don't want to know.
What did they have it on a ship?
Biohazard.
Unless it's not a biohazard if it was new. If they got it just specifically just to throw it out into the ocean just to fuck with people.
Those things cost thousands. I can't imagine somebody doing that.
You can get a cheap one. You can get a cheap one on AliExpress.
Oh my god, a discount sex doll.
Yeah. They're not safe to use.
Anyhow. I don't even want to think about it. Anyhow.
Seriously, AliExpress you're searching up something completely different, and it will bring up, just like Wish, something that you are not looking for in the slightest.
And things I never wanted to know existed. I have had that happen. I'm like, how is this a thing?
You should browse AliExpress once in a while.
I don't think I
It's interesting, just like Wish.
No, just leave me for a few days with my coffee. Just leave me. That's one of my favorite mugs. It says I just want to drink coffee and be left alone. So, if you have any of these things, not sex dolls, if you want to contact us, it's cupofcoffeewithscream @gmail.com. This is where the scream comes in, is me going, oh God. If you need prayers or anything like that, and I do ask you all to say a prayer for the unknown families of these currently unknown children, because that is a truly horrific thing.
Unless they were the cause of it.
Who? The children were certainly not the cause of it.
No, the family.
Well, I mean, there was bound to have been other family out there. Let's hope that there was other family out there. So, know that you're loved.
Yeah. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and... most of all, subscribe and click the notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Do not shove a body in a bag.
No bodies in bags.
Unless you're like trained to do that.
Now, well, yeah, there are people that's their job.
Job.
Job title. I stuff
Job body
bodies in
bagger.
bags. Oh my God. Yeah, that takes a whole, as far as bagger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyhow, we will see
Body
you.
bagger.
We will see you all on the next cup. Bye.